Okay, The Better Sister is a new show that's on Amazon Prime now. Should you be watching it? It depends if you like this kind of thing. Now, I've told before when I was talking about another show on Amazon Prime, We Were Liars, as well as another show, Sirens. There appears to be this almost genre of television / movies where there was like a wealthy family that's living in the New York area, and then usually there's involvement in the Hamptons, as well as like the sort of beachfront property around New York. I guess this was kind of fall in that same category, but The Better Sister is very unusual as far as its plot is set up. It starts out with the main character, who's played by Jessica Biel. One day, Jessica Biel comes home and finds that her husband is dead and is murdered. So there is kind of like, okay, so this is sort of a whodunit type of mystery. But they try and this feels a bit different. For example, they don't seem to they don't follow the same conventions as mostly of the whodunit mystery, where they reveal like somebody and they're trying to track it down. Like they don't tell it from the point of view of a cop or anything like that. Instead, it is told from the point of view of Jessica Biel's character. Now, Jessica Biel in this thing has a son, and this son is arrested because they believe that he is the one who killed the father. And there's a lot of evidence, of course, pointing to him. So that's sort of the thing. They're trying to prove that the son didn't kill his father. Now, if you are watching this show, there is a lot of doubt as far as like, okay, it certainly looks like the son could have easily killed his father and had a lot of motivation to. Now, here's the twist of this thing. As you have no doubt seen, the show is called The Better Sister. Why is it called that? Well, there is another sister, and this other sister is played by Elizabeth Banks. Now, Elizabeth Banks, I'm sure you've seen in a lot of things, like she was Wild Style in the Lego Movie. She has a small role in, I think, those early Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. But she's a well-known character actress. And so, in this case, here's the deal. Elizabeth Banks' character was apparently, before I begin, I should say that this family, this Jessica Biel family, is rich. I don't know. I think she owns a magazine or something like that. She has one of those jobs where she just goes around being rich, and apparently other people do the work for her. Yeah, because we don't really see her ever at the office doing her job, but there are scenes where that does happen. So basically, I don't know if she inherited that money, or I don't really remember who. I think this is inherited money. She comes from money. Her father's pretty up there in money, so I think that's kind of how that works. So here's the thing. Elizabeth Banks unfortunately became an addict sometime in the past, and she had a son. And that son is now Jessica Biel's son. How did that happen? Well, apparently, now this is what makes this thing rather interesting, because Jessica Biel characters and Elizabeth Banks characters have had the same husband. Elizabeth Banks' character had this husband originally, but Elizabeth Banks became very bad in her addictions, and so the husband eventually ended up divorcing her. And then somehow Jessica Biel managed to get to know the husband and the son, and even though that Jessica Biel is in fact the son's aunt, the son is now basically, she's sort of a mother to the son now. Does that make sense? I might have to put out a family tree diagram of this. So yeah, that's why it's called The Better Sister, because yeah, she's the better sister. Get it? Okay, so if you don't get it, hey, I understand. So most of this mystery is Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks sort of working together to find out some of the stuff that has happened in this thing. Now, I will have to say a lot of the plot developments in this thing happen mostly off screen and then told through flashbacks, where we are seeing what stuff has happened in this thing. So It's actually very early in this thing where essentially Jessica Biel and Banks are, I'll just call them Biel and Banks from now on. They're in the car, and then basically, I think Banks opens up the glove compartment, and there's like a knife there, which she realizes is the murder weapon. And she just kind of keeps it to herself, which I kind of thought was really strange because there's enough evidence to show that Jessica Biel could have killed her husband in this thing. In fact, she was having an affair. Also, it's revealed that her husband was abusive to her. And not only that, was abusive to Banks as well. So yeah, so we see this. So apparently this guy was kind of a real piece of work. So are we glad that he's dead? It's kind of not really one of those things. I'm not really sure what kind of tone they were going for, but this does feel darker than a lot of shows that are happening, but hey. Now they also do kind of a POV of the cops that are working on the case, and also the corruption around the cops that are working on this case. An angle that I didn't really think that this show would actually go for, but they actually kind of do that. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So, oh yeah, speaking of corruption, apparently Biel was cheating on her husband. So yeah, so we're sort of starting to think motive. Then we find out some more information about the kid, the one who is on trial for murder. And so we're starting to think like, oh, maybe he could have done it. Because if you watched enough mystery, you know that that's how this works. Mysteries tend to fluctuate, where you think like, oh, it looks like it's this person. Then it's like, then some evidence or something shows up in the plot line. You go like, oh, it's probably this person. Then you go like, oh, it's probably this. And then there's usually something that kind of ties this whole thing together. Now, a lot of the episodes of this are based around the just trying to figure out how we can get the son out of jail and get him free from the murder charges. There is a trial that goes on that happens throughout all the episodes. And I might as well get to some spoilers at this point, even though I'm not at the 9-minute mark. The son is found not guilty. And apparently, I think it's revealed that, I think the reason why that is because the person she was cheating with, goes up there and then pleads the fifth on everything. So it almost makes it look like he did it. And so I guess that's, because here's the thing. I mean, they're looking for a murderer. So the cops are trying to find out like, okay, who's the real murderer? Because whenever you have a murder case and someone's found innocent, then you got to find out who the real murderer is. Well, basically they, I can't really remember kind of how this ends as far as how they set this up, but apparently it is revealed, and I might as well just get to this, who killed the husband. It was, in fact, Elizabeth Banks' character who killed him. And yeah, I kind of thought that, all right, okay, that does make a lot of sense. That scene where she's got the murder weapon in the glove box and just sort of keeps it there and doesn't bring it to the police, I think was kind of a big indicator that, yeah, she knows some things. And at first you think like, oh, she's trying to protect Jessica Biel's character, but no, she's actually trying to protect herself. And these two characters are sort of reconnecting because there's a huge schism in between them. Hence, the title, The Better Sister, or whatever. Makes a lot of sense. This is more of a, I'd say this is more of a character-driven sort of murder mystery. In other words, I think it's, the real meat of this plot is the relationship between Biel and Banks. So I kind of feel like at the end, the wrong person got dragged to to justice for the murder for it. But I was kind of sort of losing track of this plot line as far as like as far as the complications are concerned. I do remember that, yeah, it's pretty much the son still stayed out of jail, and which is a good thing because I think the son kind of needed a new start. I think we were supposed to sympathize with the son character. He's not revealed as a piece of trash or anything like that. So yeah, and I think it just kind of ends with these two sisters just sort of sitting by a fire, just kind of bonding and realizing that their life is going to begin again, which I guess is a pretty good ending. This is actually kind of good. I mean, I kept watching it. It wasn't like that other show, We Were Liars, where I just kind of stopped watching after the first 2 episodes, but everybody has told me that's super good, so maybe I might watch the entirety of that and give a rant on this. But this one I watched in its entirety and would recommend that, hey, you might like it. Anyways, Mark from the Geek Church, signing off.